Hello and welcome to round 8 of the League of Europe Porsche Cup. We're here at Spa-Francorchamps. We're midway through qualifying, sorry for the delay, but we've got the last 5 minutes where it'll all start to kick off. At the moment we've got QBR Campbell in pole position after his third lap was good enough for a 2:17.1. 2 tenths clear of Jackson in second. James Head currently third. He held pole for a little while, provisional pole, but now he's back down to third. Palmer in fourth, just behind his teammate. Probably a bit of slitching going on there, as he's probably cut Raddy on there, and he's got a 1 second penalty on this lap, so that will be effectively invalidated unless he can clear it throughout the rest of the lap by slowing down. Of course, Palmer and Jai is now side Max Motorworks drivers rather than, they still race in SLM, but they're no longer. They're now working with SMM, Side Max Motorworks, working together in League of Europe, RLH and SLM. Palmer's name still is SLM. Palmer probably hasn't spent the £8 to change it to SMM, but each to their own. Have a look down at the lower positions. Morgan is in 9th, Fun Anywhere is in 10th, Dan is in 11th, V5 is in 12th, and Noble is in 13th. So James Head on an out lap now. He's about to start his flying lap after this, and we'll go we'll ride on board with him for a full lap. So let's jump to the onboard cam. Well, not bumper, we'll go from the roof cam. Going through the bus stop chicane now as we start the lap, getting a good exit up towards La Source. First corner, really tight right-hander, of course. Almost 180 degrees, really. You don't realise how tight it is when you're going through it. But it looks pretty smooth through there, up towards the most famous and probably the best sequence of corners in any track. Down through Eau Rouge and then up the hill of Radion, the right-hander. Then over the crest, up onto the Kemmel Straight. This will be probably the most prominent overtaking zone of the entire lap on the Kemmel Straight, the longest straight into a relatively big braking zone for Lecombe. Through the right, through the left, keeping over to the left for the next right-hander. Down towards Rivage. He runs slightly wide there, but hopefully there won't be a penalty for him. Braking just after the curb for Rivage. Keeping tight to the right-hander. Then powering out, moving back over to the right for this left-hander, which has no name, of course, famously known as No Name. A little bit slow through there, doesn't run out, doesn't take as much apex or as much exit as he could there, maybe just being a bit conservative. Up towards Pouon, one of the fastest corners in the world. Slight lift and a little bit of brake, and then flat out for the rest of the corner. Now towards this pretty tricky section, taking a mid to late apex for the first part, then swinging back for the second part as Whiteout sets provisional pole time. Oh, as James has run out wide there slightly, and that will cost him a 10th or so. Through Stavelo 1 and then out of Stavelo 2 on to the back straight. He's lost, that's what I said, he's lost a couple of tenths by going wide in those sections. Bruxelles, is it Bruxelles? And so now all the way down Blanchimont, hopefully he's going to try and regain that time. Only a minute and a half left, so he should be able to complete this lap and go again, but his tyres will of course be warm. Let's see if he makes any improvement whatsoever. Coming up to the bus stop now. Heaviest braking zone on the track. Really tight right and left. Crucial to get a good exit onto the main straight. As he powers across the line, will he make an improvement? He doesn't. He improved in that last sector, but not enough. That was not slower. That was not faster, sorry, than his quickest time. He's right on board with Campbell now. He's coming up towards Stavelo. As Palmer's gone third with his time of 2:17.1. Campbell 2 seconds down, and I don't think he's going to make an. Oh, he is. It's going to be very close. I'm not sure if he will actually. It's going to be very close to see whether he makes a second lap or not. This may be it. So let's run on board now. coming up to the bus stop. He's only got 13 seconds left. In theory, he should make it, but he may have lost too much time on this outlap. It looks like he's just going to get it. 5 seconds left. 4, 3, 2, 1. And he just crosses the line with a second to spare. So this is it now. This is the final chance for Campbell. We'll come back to him in a minute. He's only got, luckily, enough time to complete his lap on the cool-down period after the timer runs out. Whiteout. I can't tell if he's pushing at the moment. Let's ride on board. Onto the bumper cam. Coming to the bus stop now. He sees his teammate ahead of him. I don't know if he's on a lap as well. Braking boards there are taken out, so that's not going to be helpful, as there's already a bit of lag from Whiteout, so that's not really what we want to see at the start, as that looks like, yes, he's backing off. He's retired, as Kyle has taken provisional pole position with a time of 2:16.6, less than a tenth ahead of his teammate Whiteout. So a really strong performance from him there, just leapfrogging his teammate slightly, as V5 sets a time of 20.2. That's not quite up there with the fastest guys, I should say. They're all quick here. Let's see where Campbell is. He's just coming through towards Pouon. Is Jackster anywhere near completing a lap? He's in the middle of Pouon. Palmer is now the one to watch, but it looks like he's ghosted. He finished his lap, so he did not improve, and he's our maximum of fifth position. James Head now, of course, messed up that lap previously. Will he make an improvement this time? Doesn't look like he will. He doesn't. Again, very close to his best, but not quite beating it, and he resides to 6th position. Chies now has got an 8/10 penalty, so this won't be a good lap for him. Conrod's finished. Morgan's finished. Noble now is just ahead of, looks like Campbell. V5 is finished. Let's go to Campbell. Yep, so he's coming up towards Blanchimont now. Is he going to be able to take that pole position? We've finally got notifications that there are comments from previous streams. That hasn't been a feature, so I'll get that up. So Campbell about to cross across the line behind Noble. Campbell does not take pole. He's in 3rd position. The top 3 separated by just over a tenth of a second. Really close, but it looks like it's an Apex Racing Team 1-2, unless no, Jackson went into the pits. Is anyone else out on a lap? Noble's just finished. V5. I think that's everyone finished. I think it's because Morgan's in the pits, which is not progressing. But Kyle leads ahead of Whiteout, Campbell, Jackster, Palmer, James Head, Chies, and Conrod for the top 8. Morgan, Fun Anywhere, Noble, V5, and Dan make up the rest of the field. So we see the cars lining up for their standing start here. Of course, the top 3 separated by only a tenth of a second. Palmer probably most disappointed there in 5th position, one of his lower qualifying performances in recent weeks. But the red lights are on. We're about to get underway here at Spa-Francorchamps for round 8. 2 more rounds to go after this. And it is lights green, and away we go. It looks like Whiteout there got a pretty good start, but it looked like Kyle was able to cover him off. Campbell there in 3rd position, looking, and Jackster looks up the inside of Campbell, and Campbell once again caught up in the first corner incident, and that is Whiteout way off the track into 4th position, down into 6th now. He's really dropped back after that start, so we will hit a replay marker there, and we'll come back to that when it's necessary and when we're not being distracted by racing. But it's a car that leads ahead of Jackster, and Chies all the way up to 3rd position. I don't even know where he started, but he's got a brilliant start, jumping his teammate Palmer and James Head, and Campbell as well, of course, after going off. Campbell once again having a poor start, being a bit careful, and unfortunately still gets removed from the start from the first corner as he goes deep into Les Pommes there, and he's going to have to cut the corner, and that could be a penalty. Luckily he doesn't get reset, but that's Whiteout going to take his position as well, and Campbell is already down to 7th position in this race. Yeah, and there we go. He's got a 1.5 second penalty. That's really going to hurt him. A terrible start for Campbell there from 3rd all the way down to 7th. But Kyle leads with the gap of 8 tenths of a second, Jackster in second, Chais in third. Found some real pace here this evening, and Palmer is in fourth. And James Head looks around the outside, and he's got that move done. It looks like Palmer getting a really slow exit out of No Name. I don't know what's wrong with Palmer there, he's really backed on. Let's take a look at what happened back at the start with a replay. Oh, that looks like Chais hitting Campbell. I missed what happened with White out there. Let's go back to see that again. Apologies for missing any racing. Oh, Whiteout got punted by Campbell as well. So, chain reaction, I reckon, caused by Palmer there. So, unfortunate start for Palmer, Whiteout and Campbell. These guys now 5th, 6th and 7th. But Kyle leads now with a gap of 1.7 seconds. So he is taking this race by the scruff of the neck as Chais looks up the inside of the bus stop on Jackster. He gets the inside line for the first part. James Head gives him a little push on the way through. And James Head makes a double overtake in one corner, but it looks like he's serving his penalty now. And now Whiteout has jumped them both. So many position changes in that corner, and Whiteout is back up to third, although he's been just shoved out by Chais there. By Jackster, apologies, and he's behind Chais, who's all the way up in second position. So let's have a look at what happened there. Oh, it's just missed the bus stop. Bit of contact, bit of a scrappy first couple of laps for these guys. Maybe caused by a bit of lag by Whiteout, as we saw in the qualifying and practice session. His connection didn't seem too great. But it is Kyle that leads with a gap of 2.3 seconds to Chais. Whiteout in third, Jackson in fourth, Palmer fifth, James Head sixth, B Morgan seventh. Campbell just overtaking his teammate B Morgan to go into seventh from eighth. Fun Anywhere in ninth, Conrad in 10th, XL Dan in 11th, P5 and 12th, and Noble all the way down in 13th position. So Whiteout right on the back of Chais, and that's Palmer looking around the outside of Jackster into Bruxelles. I need to just double check that's right. That didn't sound right when I was saying it. No, it wasn't Bruxelles. Bruxelles is what I called Rivage. What's Rivage then? Maybe it's a new name. Yeah, Rivage is also known as Bruxelles, that's where the confusion came from. I'm going to call it Rivage, I prefer it. But while looking at, wow, Whiteout really lagging all over the place. Campbell up to 6th position now. Whiteout sets the fastest lap of the race. Gap now only 3/10 of a second. It looks like he's probably going to be able to get a move done up into the Kemmel straight. Let's have a look. Going to get an important exit out of the source. Chai's done a really break the toe, and he's gained 2/10 of a second out of the source. Both really squirreling through Radion, but Whiteout's got a great run up onto the Kemmel straight. He's going to be right on Chais by the end of it. Less than 2/10 of a second separates them now. And Kyle looks round the outside of Lecombe, around the inside for the next corner. Is he going to be able to get that move done? No, he doesn't. He's squeezed out slightly, and now the other SMM driver, Palmer, is on his tail. So a real good battle for second position going on at the moment, with James Head not too far behind them, only 2 seconds, but he's defending from Campbell, who's on a charge after that incident at turn 1 on the first lap. Chais looking for what will only be his second podium of the season, but this is the highest he's been. His highest finish, I believe, was 3rd position. I think it's third. He may have got second earlier because I remember the SLM, as they were known before, the SLM drivers did get a double podium, but I don't know if it was a 1-2 or a 1-3. But Charlie's leading this pack, and now Palmer looks around the outside of Stavolo 1. He's not able to get that move done, but Whiteout's got a 5/10 penalty, so he's going to drop behind Palmer, as that's allowed Charlie to really pull ahead, and he's actually catching Kyle. Maybe Kyle is saving fuel a bit. Let's have a look at the difference. No, there's no fuel saving going on there. So Kyle leads the race, but Charlie's actually looks like he may have the pace to catch up here, which he hasn't had this opportunity to do previously in the season. And it looks like SLM Palmer is going to jump Whiteout going onto the straight. And we've got another comment on the stream. Sharon back, of course, supporting her son Palmer as Whiteout serves that penalty, and he goes all the way down to 5th position, defending from James Head now, and that's allowed Campbell to jump right onto the back of them. But Kyle only 1.6 seconds ahead of Chise. So at the moment it's an Apex Racing Team and Sidemax Motorworks podium here, with a P1 for ART and P2 and 3 for SMM. But Chise looks like he's got some pace here. He's caught up about a second in a lap to Kyle. As I must take, as we're just going to exit very quickly to just have a look at the race settings, because I still can't remember. Tuning is prohibited, so everyone is on the same setup here. So it's all down to driver skill. V5 and Dan are currently battling for 11th position, but it's Kyle that leads, but Chise is definitely catching him at a rate of knots, with Palmer not far behind him either, and Whiteout has secured that 4th position ahead of James and Campbell, but now Campbell is right on the back of the Gulf Racing livery Porsche. So jump on board going into Lefania. Not Brussels, of course, as I called it earlier. He's got a really good exit out of there. He's going to look on the outside of Stavolo 1, thinks better of it, looking for the cutback to get a better exit down to Blanchimont. Through Stavolo 2 now. Campbell definitely being held up by James here, it seems. But of course, James relying on that slipstream from Whiteout ahead of him to stay ahead of Campbell. Gap now 1.5 seconds between Kyle and Chise, so as they both run slightly wide at Blanchimont. Coming into the bus stop now, and Kyle's gone slightly wide at the first bus stop, obviously feeling the pressure now from the SMM driver, who's definitely catching up as he's just gained half a second in one corner. And the gap now 1 second, and of course Chise will now be in the slipstream and Palmer will be in his, so the two SMM drivers are going to be really on Kyle's tail by the end of this lap if they can stick in the slipstream, as Campbell has got up to 4th. Did Whiteout have to serve another penalty? Did I miss as these two have both gone slow, so there's obviously been some contact there. Apologies for missing that, we've just missed it, but Whiteout and James obviously coming together and having an incident which has promoted Campbell into 4th place. He's going to have to really push to catch up to Palmer now, because these guys will be slipstream training, as the gap is now only 6/10 of a second. Chise really on the back of Kyle now. That gap has just gone in a space of 2 laps. Kyle has lost 2 seconds to the drivers behind him, and it's currently a 3-way battle for 1st position, as they're all separated by 1.5 seconds. I think Car Cannon in the comments may have accidentally applied the commenter's curse, as he said, clean racing so far, and then as soon as he said that, there was an incident. The first, aside from turn 1, one of the first incidents of the race up into the bus stop between Whiteout and James Head. But Chise has really been on it today. You've got to say he's done a really good job, starting I think about 6th on the grid, and he's already he's into the 2nd position with half an hour of this race to go, and he's right on the back of Kyle, and it's shaping up to be a nice battle for 1st position. as Campbell is slowly catching up to the pack ahead of him, but he's on his own, so he's going to struggle to catch up on the straights with the guys ahead of him slipstreaming. So let's have a look at Chai's now. If we can get the right button. Chai's 5/10 of a second behind Kyle, having to lift through there for the extra speed, and the gap now 3/10 of a second, and Palmer is just behind him, as the SMM drivers are getting really close as well, as they all pull into the pits. The top three have all jumped into the pits, and that's Chai's hitting the pit wall going in, so that will cost him some very valuable time as Campbell's come in as well. Let's have a look. Is Carl's into his pit box now. Let's see how much they all refuel, as lots of people are coming in now. It seems like this is the way to go. Probably a 3-stop, pitting every 10 minutes or so, as close as you can. Kyle puts in a lot of fuel, and Palmer and Chais have both jumped ahead of him there. Let's see how much. They all put in pretty similar amount of fuel, but some a little less than others, and Chais has the net lead of this race, as Conrad of course still has to pit. But we're back into a three-way battle for the lead, what is effectively the lead. Even though Chais is in second, he's effectively leading the race. So a great first outing for Sidemax Motorworks in the League of Europe Porsche Cup, as that's Palmer going pretty deep into Lake and that's going to allow Kyle to try and sneak around the outside, but there's no room there. Coming through down towards Rivage, and that's allowed Chais to get breakaway, a little bit of breathing space, not much, but more than he had before, as now we're all really bunching up as we're coming up to the guys on older tyres. Campbell just behind Fun Anywhere, and these guys come up to Conrad now, who's gone really wide at... Oh, and Kyle has gone off at No Name. He's going to lose a lot of time there to the guys ahead of him. That's going to be really helpful for the SMM drivers. Conrad's got a 5-10 penalty, and he's already just over a 10th ahead of Chais. So Chais has got to be really careful here. Just be patient. Don't make any rush. Don't make any rash decisions, as he looks up the inside of Lefania as he gets that move done. And now his teammate Palmer is the one stuck behind Conrad. Look up the inside into Stavilo, and there's a little bit of contact, but Palmer makes his way through, and he's going to be right back on the tail of his teammate Chais. But Chais now has a 9/10 gap, where he may be these guys may be I know they're in a party together, so they may be employing some team tactics to try and catch up a bit. Kyle's got a half-a-second penalty. That's going to really throw him out from in the lead of the race into net third, and now maybe even lower after getting a half-a-second penalty, which you have to serve, and that will throw him right into the clutches of Campbell, as he's actually lost a lot of that penalty in the bus stop. So Kyle should be slowing down. Is he going to slow down to serve that penalty? He does. He serves it on the main straight into the braking zone. Ooh, that's a bit touch and go as to whether that was a legal penalty removal there. But we'll focus on the race ahead of them. Only a 6/10 gap between Palmer and Chai, but it's a comfortable 1-2 currently for the two SMM drivers. Leading a 1-2 with a Dutch driver of Chai's at what is effectively his home race. There's no Dutch circuits on GT Sport, but Spa in Belgium is pretty close. As it looks like Chai's maybe letting his teammate through. It is. So Chai letting his teammate through there. That was a clear slow down. Maybe putting his fuel down a bit into a slower mode to try and let his teammate through, and maybe these two will be now slipstreaming each other to try and pull away from the pack behind, as Campbell now is right on the back of Kyle. Into Rivage now. These guys, what tyres are they all on? So Palmer and Chais are on the softs, but Kyle and Campbell are on the medium. So this is going to be interesting once they pit again to see how close they all get. And then it'll be really interesting by the end of the race to see how close they all finish, of course. But Campbell right on the back of Kyle now. He's on a mission to try and recover that lost time from the start. At the moment, Palmer is taking the lead of the championship by quite a margin. I think the gap was only 4 or 7 points going into this race. I'll have a check on that now, if you give me a second. Yep, so I was correct. Campbell only has a 4-point lead ahead of Palmer, who will be gaining quite a lot on him now. I believe he'll be gaining 13 points as it stands. So that is going to be a 9-point lead if it stays as it is. As Chais gets past Palmer, these two look like they're battling now. Chais letting Palmer past. That sounded funny. These guys went side by side into Eau Rouge. Chais was actually ahead, but it looked like he backed off again. Oh, not really the team game there. Losing a bit of time for each other, really, as they both will cost themselves a few tenths of a second, and they really just need to work together now and build up that gap to Kyle and Campbell while they're on the softer tyres. Conrad only just pitted, only a couple of laps ago, so maybe one to look for later in the race. I think maybe going for the 2-stop rather than the 3-stop. As Whiteout back down in 6th position, so not a great race from him. He's battling with James Head at the moment. Jackster is in 8th with his teammate Fine Anywhere in 9th, V5 in 10th, Noble and Dan make up the final 12. Palmer now with a 1-second gap to his teammate Chais, but only a 2-second gap to the drivers behind him, so this is not really what they want on these softer tyres. Oh, as Chais loses it. Chais has done a complete 360 and he's lost those positions. Very costly mistake from the side max driver there. Through Lafagna, runs slightly wide, puts the power down too early, runs onto the AstroTurf, onto the gravel slightly, loses the back end. Luckily not too costly, no damage or anything, but that has chucked him down into 4th position. And he's up a certain creek with no paddle. But that's Palmer in the lead by 3.5 seconds now. Kyle in 2nd, Campbell in 3rd. So this is going to be a real close battle between these two now. Only 0.3 of a second separate them. He's going to look up the inside into the source, but I don't think he'll make a move. He'll wait until this straight or the Kemmel straight after Eau Rouge and Radion. They both get a decent exit, but Campbell surely has to do him now. Only 2.5 tenths separate them going up towards Eau Rouge and Radion, up the hill. The left, right, left. As Kyle is able to pull away slightly because Campbell had to lift off due to the dirty air going through that incredibly fast corner. And it looks like he may not be close enough. After not getting a great run through Eau Rouge, he's going to go for a dive, looking to the outside, sticking to his line. No move on this lap so far. So Kyle has made a small mistake there going through Pouon, and that's going to allow Campbell to look round the outside into Lafagna. He's sticking it around the outside, but no avail there. He's going to now look for the switchback towards Stavelot. He's going to get a good exit out of this corner. Is he going to be able to dive up the inside? Kyle's not going to go defensive, but Campbell is not going to take advantage of that opportunity there, and all this is allowing Palmer to pull away even more. Campbell right on the back of Kyle now. They're both going to have to lift off through Eau Rouge, Blanchimont I mean. Campbell doesn't seem he's being particularly ruthless. He's really biding his time to get past the AIT driver. There's a bit of contact going through there, and that's going to allow Campbell to surge round the outside, but they're still alongside as now Kyle tucks in behind. Is he going to look for a move up into the source? No, he's not. He's going to try and get that slipstream as there's more contact between the two drivers. A bit of bumping going on between them. As Whiteout is now down in 7th position. I'm not sure what's happened to him there. He's in 6th, sorry. He's just got past James Head. Not quite sure what would have happened to him. But Palmer leads with a gap of 5.6 seconds. Campbell still ahead of Kyle, but Kyle's going to have a really good run down the Kemmel straight. Is he going to be able to make a move into LeCom? Look at the inside now to the outside, does the switch back. But Campbell defending well, retains second position for the time being. As Campbell has run wide at Rivage there. And Chise is catching up to these two as well, using that pace he had earlier in the race, but his tyres will be suffering at the moment. Campbell pulling away a slight gap from Kyle now, which is exactly what he wanted to do, but now I think, let's have a look at the fuel situation. Campbell and Kyle are pretty equal. Chise and Palmer have the least, and they're going to be going on to the medium tyres on the next stint. So it looks like the strategy is going to play into Campbell's hands, but he needs to close up this gap before the end of this stint. So Chise and James have pulled into the pits now. Palmer has a lead of 6.3 seconds. Kyle once again just behind QVR Camera as he runs wide over the top of Radion. That may cost him a little bit of a penalty. I don't think it will, but we'll have a look. He does. He gets a half-second penalty, and he's going to look round the outside of Campbell. Doesn't go for there. They both run slightly wide there. Really, you can see how much they're pushing. But once again, this is really allowing Palmer to pull away, and it looks like, barring any mistakes or penalties or other such bad luck or mistakes, Palmer seems to have this in the bag for now. So Campbell has been able to pull away slightly from Kyle after that small that scrap through LeCom, and of course this will really come into his hands onto the start-finish straight, as Kyle will have to serve a half-second penalty. Whiteout has now got past Conrad Racing up into 4th position on those medium tyres, so a good recovery from him. Jackster in 5th. Chise down to 7th as he's been the first one to pit, so we're really hoping to get the undercut on the two drivers ahead of him. But pretty spread out for the rest of the field. Campbell catching slowly back up to Palmer, as it looks like they actually still got a penalty. I was worried that he'd served it in the incorrect position there, but no, as Palmer pulls into the pits, is Campbell going to do the same? He doesn't, he stays out another lap. So, Palmer's into the pits, and neither Campbell and Kyle are not. So let's have a gap, look at the gap between Palmer and Chise when Chise comes out of the pits. What is the gap going to be? Are we even going to be able to see that gap? No, we're not. But Palmer is 14 seconds behind Campbell. All the while, this will be playing into Chise's hands, as he'll have the undercut on these guys and actually may be able to jump them into pit stops. But he did have less fuel than the others did. when they were together. As Campbell now has a 2-second gap to Kyle. So there's a bit of a cool down period while the drivers are all doing their pit stops. So try and work out the gap between Palmer and Chai. So Palmer is 7.7 seconds ahead of Whiteout, who is, so it's about an 10.5 second gap. So I don't know if Chais would have actually closed in on the guys ahead. Depends how much fuel they put in. They're both going to be low, both pretty equal. As Campbell now is into the pits, so it will be interesting to see the gaps after this pit stop. So Palmer retaining his lead, of course, with that big gap he had. Whiteout into the pits. He's got the most fuel out of anyone, so maybe he was doing some fuel saving in those in that gap between safety between pit stops. I'm all over the place today. So Campbell's out in second. Gap now 5.1 seconds between Palmer and Campbell. Chais hasn't actually caught up to the two guys ahead of him. But they've got much less fuel than him. It should last until the end of the race, should be fine, but it looks like Chai's maybe over-fueling slightly there. And now he's going to be at a disadvantage compared to the other two. So now this is should be the final stint of the race with only 10.5 minutes remaining. Campbell got a 5.5 second gap to close up, but it looks like he's going to be doing that pretty quickly as he's on the softest tyres out of the front two drivers. These two, of course, championship rivals now. Palmer currently will be taking the championship lead by 3 points as it stands, but Campbell is going to really want to be putting really want to spoil Palmer's party and regain control of that championship battle. If they swap positions, Campbell will have a lead of 11 points. But if Palmer wins, he'll have a lead of Palmer will have a lead of 3 points. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out in these last 10 minutes. Only 4 or 5 laps remaining from now on, so it's going to really close up. Campbell 4/5 laps to catch up 4.5 seconds and then overtake. So it's going to be a tall order, but I'm sure he'll be absolutely determined to do it. Gap now 4.1 seconds, so Campbell has already caught up what is, as near as makes no difference, 2 seconds in 1 lap. So this is definitely going to be really interesting. Palmer has really just got a hope that by the end of this race, his tyres, his medium tyres, which are harder than Campbell's softs, have the advantage towards the end as Chais comes into the pits again. Maybe realising he's made the wrong strategy call and maybe going for fastest lap, or just racing for pride now after that unfortunately embarrassing moment into Stavelot. the gap now 3.5 seconds between Palmer and Campbell. Kyle's in third, Fun Anywhere in fourth, Chai's in fifth, Whiteout right on his tail in sixth. This is going to be a good fight between these two now, as Whiteout probably has, or usually has, the pace advantage, but Whiteout is on the softer tyres. Sorry, Chai's is on the fresher tyres, I should say. As Whiteout's still lagging pretty badly. Jackson's in seventh, James Head, not the race he would have wanted, down in eighth position, and he's just got a half a second penalty. As Noblake rounds out the top 10 behind Conrod Racing. The gap now 2.9 seconds, so Campbell is seriously on a mission to catch up to the SLM/Sidemax Motorworks driver. So the gap now 2.5 seconds, and by my calculations they should have, it's going to be close. They'll have 3 or 4 laps remaining after this. Let's have a look as they cross the line. So Palmer, oh, it's going to be so close. He should have 4 laps remaining, and it's going to be even closer whether Campbell makes it. As Campbell sets the fastest lap of the race by half a second, so he is seriously on it at the moment. He is really pushing to catch up to the race leader and get his first win since the first race of the season. Of course, he's won on track since then, but had it taken away due to penalties, I believe. So 3 laps to catch up, 2.1 seconds and overtake. Possibly 4, it will be close. We'll be able to see at the end of this lap if it's 2 or 3 laps remaining. So Campbell really on it, 1.8 seconds behind the SLM driver. Yeah, so Campbell is catching up pretty much a second to a second and a half a lap. Gap now only 1.5 seconds, 2 more tenths, and Campbell will be in the suck zone, as it's called, the slipstream, which is about 1.2 seconds. When you're 1.2 seconds behind someone, you get the effects of the strong slipstream. In GT Sport, of course, slipstream is set to real, but GT Sport slipstream, even on real, is pretty ridiculously strong. As you see now, Campbell half a second behind Palmer. Was there a mistake there? I pressed the wrong button. Or did I? Don't think I did. Oh well, we've missed that now. But Campbell is going to be right on the back of Palmer now, and it's going to be really close between these two. Their tyres are actually the same level of wear, even though Palmer is on the harder tyres. So it's going to be a straight fight between these two now. Palmer going to have to defend for his life to get his 4th win of the season. Let me double check that. As Campbell looks round the outside of Pouon, is he going to make that move stick? He goes round the outside, he's going to have the inside for the next corner. They go side by side, not Pouon, Lecombe, sorry. There's a bit of contact between the two there. And Palmer loses the position to Campbell. He's going to have to try and stick in that slipstream to try and regain that position. So yes, Palmer looking for his 4th win. Campbell only his 2nd, but he's been the most consistent driver, you would have to say, across the season. Our championship leader, and it looks like if it stays like this, he will be increasing his championship gap rather than swapping positions as it was going to be before they swapped positions on track. As I need a drink. So Campbell already pulled out 7/10 of a second from Palmer. Palmer's now got to pray that Campbell's softer tyres drop off in the final couple of laps. I believe it will be 2 laps remaining after this. It's going to be close. It's definitely going to be close coming to the end of this race, and Kyle is actually going to be he's a little bit further behind than I thought, but your top 3 at the moment is a pretty common one this season. Campbell, Palmer and Kyle, they're normally there in some form or another, occasionally with Chise and Whiteout being there as well. Whiteout obviously has had the pace to get more podiums than he has, but there has been some mistakes and lag and other unfortunate incidents. But Campbell now has a 1 second gap to Palmer behind him. His tyres don't look like they're going anywhere anytime soon. They're going to get 2 laps left, this lap and then 1 more afterwards. It's going to be close though. But yes, they should make it if they're doing around 2:17s. They should make 2 more laps. It's going to be close with Kyle though. I don't know if he's going to make it. So, penultimate lap of the race. Campbell leads Palmer by just over 1 second. Palmer's going to have the slipstream all the way up the Campbell straight though, and he's going to rely on a mistake from Campbell, which he ran slightly wide there. That may be a penalty for him. I don't know if he ran wide enough for the game to dish out a penalty. It looks like it's not, as he's going to make it to the end of the straight without the message appearing on screen. But that has allowed Palmer to catch up to... The gap is less than 2 cents, and Campbell's made a mistake into they come, and Palmer's going to look round the outside and then switch to the inside. There's not going to be a move there, but he's right on the back of him now. Let's ride on board with the Sidemax Motorworks driver as we're going towards Rivage. A little bit further away now. He's going to have to really push. Let's have a look at the tyre situation. Yeah, so Campbell's tyres are now slightly worse than Palmer's, but those soft tyres will still have grip. They will still be... they'll still have some pace. Whereas the medium tyres, of course, they last long enough, but their pace is significantly less. As you can see, Palmer losing 6/10 in that middle sector alone. As the tyres really squealing there. Yeah, his tyres are really... I don't know if that's just a glitch with this the in-game sound. The Campbell now has a gap of 1.1 seconds, and it looks like he's going to secure this victory. But we'll have to wait and see. There's going to be 1 lap after this for these two at least. Maybe Kyle will squeeze in as well, but in the rest of them, this will be the final lap. But it looks like Palmer is going to win, Campbell, sorry, is going to win this race, but they're going to have to do 1 more lap to confirm it. As they cross the line, Kyle is going to come home in 3rd position across the line. He's not going to make the next lap. Backing off there, doesn't want to do another lap with no chance of improving his position. So Kyle comes home in 3rd. Chise is going to come home in 4th. As we'll go to this battle up top, is there going to be another mistake from Campbell up Radion? So, no mistake this time round from Campbell. And it looks like he has got this victory secured, barring any mistakes. But he's got pretty low fuel, but that should be enough. But well-deserved Campbell, well-deserved provisional victory for Campbell, as definitely got unlucky at the start, and but has made a great recovery to take what should be, touch wood, no commentator's curse please, a victory for Campbell, and ending Palmer's streak of really impressive performances. But he's got a 2nd gap now, he just can't make any mistakes. but it is going to be Campbell coming into the final 2 corners now. He's going to take the victory after a really impressive comeback drive. Great racing from these two, but it's going to be Campbell coming across the line for only his 2nd victory of the season after the first race. Palmer comes home in 2nd. Kyle 3rd, Charles 4th, Jackson 5th, Fun Anywhere 6th, James Head 7th, Whiteout 8th, and the rest I'll get up in a second. But great result for Campbell there. Mega drive. And that is a 2nd victory of the season and extending his championship lead. Go to the race results. And that's Campbell that won it. The results are there for you now. We'll invite the others to the party. So I'm just creating the party now, so bear with me for 2 seconds while I invite them. So I've invited the top 3 to the party now, as we've got a couple more comments on the stream. We'll wait for them to join. Let's check the comments while we wait. So Campbell has joined the party. Palmer now, just waiting on Kyle. See if he joins. If not, we'll move on. As Kyle has joined the party now. So we'll start with Kyle in 3rd position. Led the first few laps, but eventually couldn't take the victory. How was that race for you?
I mean, yeah, it was an interesting race. We definitely had a decent battle. Obviously, that pole was good enough for me. Yeah, I think just in the pit stops, it was only like a few seconds, and then obviously I couldn't keep up with them. And yeah, I mean, they looked like they had a good battle, so fair play to them.
Yeah, it looked like Chai's really had the pace today, but an unfortunate spin up towards Stavelo really cost him any chances of a podium. Would you take 3rd going into this race?
I mean, off the grid, probably not, but I think looking back, it's probably the best after the pits and stuff like that. Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay, great race. So we'll move on to Palmer in 2nd position. Led the race for so long. Was there a bit of team orders with you and Chais to let you through? I saw he let you through up towards Les Combes.
Yeah, Tice really helped me in that race. I just feel quite down. I made quite a few mistakes, especially with strategy. I accidentally went on softs and then just sort of like just didn't know what to do next. Yeah, I had a complete idiot join the party and like make stupid noises and that. So yes, that's why.
I'll add that to the Racing Driver Book of Excuses.
That's a new one. I like that one.
I'll add that one.
I need to remember it.
Yeah, so that's why I went on pause going into the going into the source. Of course, that lost me quite a lot of time because I had to put the part on private. And yeah, I just want to say massive apologies to Whiteout and Campbell for the start. Because I let Whiteout back through, but because I saw that Campbell had a penalty, so like there wasn't really much point on letting him through. But yeah, I think hopefully I don't get a penalty for that after I let Whiteout through.
I think obviously because you finished way ahead of. I don't know if it's a time penalty, it shouldn't affect, but it may be a swap penalty. I don't know if they'll even give a penalty, to be honest.
A grid drop.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. But provisionally, second position. Would you have taken that going into the race after what was seemingly a bit of a disappointing qualifying?
Yeah, I was very, very disappointed with qualifying. Just kept running wide and that, and like all that pace from practice just sort of went. But luckily, my race pace was good enough. But yeah, of course, I would have liked to be ahead of Campbell and taken a lead of the championship. But yeah, hopefully next week that will happen.
Yep, gap now, I believe, 11 points. So still really close as we head into the final 2 rounds. Can you just give me an insight on Chise's reaction when he dropped it?
Yeah, he was quite unpleased with it.
Did you see it on stream or no?
Yeah, you get use on stream.
No, is it PG? What he said, is it?
Oh,
Or is it?
I'm not really sure, to be honest. Yeah, he got distracted by the absolute loony who joined the party, and
Right.
yeah, just dropped it. Because I said sorry for them because he was one of my mates, and yeah, I'm gonna have a talk with them.
Bit of a
Um,
debrief.
yeah, it's not on. It's not on. Like, I said to them that, of course, having a league race, and he just kept, like just messing everything up, and then,
Yeah.
and then he joined back, and then of course, I had no choice but to put the part in private, but unfortunately, of course,
Yeah.
that lost me about like a second and a half, like 2 seconds or something.
Okay, well, overall, second, still a pretty good position. Definitely better than some of the other drivers in this race came off. But we'll move on to the race winner. His first win since race 1 at Barcelona. It's Campbell, back with a win. How was that for you?
It's been a long time. Had to wait longer than what I would have wanted to be back at the top, but I suppose this wasn't a bad way to do it at all.
Yeah, definitely a really great recovery after turn 1 and just made the strategy work, and those soft tyres at the end, just the closing up 2.5 seconds in one lap was just a thing of beauty.
Yeah, the middle stint of the race on the mediums was where I thought the race was maybe won in the end, because I knew I'd have the advantage at the end of the race, and I couldn't get by Kyle on the mediums for like a lap or two. I sat there. I tried getting a run up Eau Rouge and Radeon, but I couldn't get the exit and carry the speed to get alongside and make the move. So I was stuck there, and I felt like I had the pace, but couldn't quite get by. And then I thought it would be gone, but I eventually got past. Seen the gap to Palmer in front and thought it's going to be difficult, but I'll give it a go. Yeah, and whatever happened with him in the party obviously happened. I got a bit that helped. Yeah, but the final stint was really fun, just pushing every lap, almost qualifying mode, to to try and catch him and get past.
Yeah, great recovery, and you're definitely right. The middle stint was where it was won and lost, because Palmer was pulling away, but he did lose that gap, and it definitely had a big impact. But the softs at the end just had the advantage, and your tyre wear was, by the end of it, they were pretty even though Palmer was on the harder tyres. So obviously, just the right call to go for softs at the end. So thanks for watching. Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's fine.
It's fine. Right, we'll end it here then. See you next week at let me get the track, or if anyone knows it off the top of their head.
Suzuka.
Suzuka, yeah.
Nice. Oh, is it? Is there 2 more? Is there? I thought there was only 1 more.
Suzuka, then Laguna Seca.
Seca.
2 of my
I'm pushing
favourite tracks, so that'll be good.
Jesus.
So we'll join you next week for Suzuka in Japan. Thank you for watching. Been a great race, and we'll see you next week.